The history of New Hampshire is a shared story of its nature, its people, its politics, and the service of its citizens to this state and our nation. Henry Styles Bridges served New Hampshire as a teacher, a farmer, a businessman, and as governor from 1935 to 1937 and U.S. Senator from 1937 to 1961. As he worked for New Hampshire through the Great Depression, World War II, and the tremendous changes that came in the following decades, Senator Bridges called East Concord his home. As governor, Styles Bridges reached office at the age of 36, and at the time was the youngest governor in the history of the state. 2 years later, he was elected to the U.S. Senate, where he represented the state of New Hampshire for over 2 decades.
Well, he chaired the 2 most powerful committees, and one in sequence, and then he was, of course, majority leader during the brief period when the Republicans controlled the Senate back in the late 1940s, and then, of course, he was Senator pro tempore. And in the Senate, on the Senate side of the building, there is a room. There's the Styles Bridges room.
Despite the demands of his office, Senator Bridges returned frequently to New Hampshire to visit with constituents and to farm his land.
Dad was terribly proud of his state and proud of East Concord and his neighbors and so forth. And as I recollect, he liked the Democrats and the Republicans. It wasn't the divide that we have today.
The Bridges house and farm was originally built in 1835 by a prosperous woodworker named Charles Graham. The house was built on land that was once owned by Revolutionary War veteran Joshua Thompson. It was one of the first brick structures built in the Concord area during this period.
It was quite unusual to see a home built in the Greek Revival style in this part of the state as early as this home was. So that's a very significant piece of history. Certainly the folks that have lived here or occupied this land and this building, the history is also very, very vital to who we are as a state.
Senator Bridges' impact and influences on the state of New Hampshire were immense and extended well beyond his years of service. It is fitting that this man of humble beginnings, who gave so much of his life to the Granite State, would also bequeath his prized home and all of its belongings to the people of New Hampshire. After the passing of his wife, Dolores, in 1969, the Bridges house became the official residence of the governor of New Hampshire. Until this point, New Hampshire had no official home for its executive to meet and entertain guests and dignitaries outside of the official office of the State House. And while its size and functionality limited its use by most of the following first families, it has become an important asset to the state.
I just think it's so unique to New Hampshire.
New Hampshire's long-standing tradition of frugality and thrift are well known by all. As a result, the Bridges house has been relatively unchanged in the last 40 years. Most of the improvements that have been made were minor and have come about through either private donations or the interest and efforts of the first families themselves.
You know, I got people to either donate the wallpaper, I donate their time to put it up, and the girl who did the stenciling came from Kingston, and she did that in the coverlet that was, somebody made that.
And the hallway wallpaper is actually my most favorite hallway wallpaper that I couldn't find anybody to donate it, so I paid for it.
Through the personal attention of New Hampshire's first family members, the Bridges house has continued its important work of opening its doors to New Hampshire's citizens and visiting guests. But the needs of the Bridges gift have proven to exceed any one individual's ability to balance family life, political work, and business endeavors.
But, you know, the house is stuck in the middle of not being really, you know, a residence in a historical piece of property. And, you know, we as New Hampshireites need to change that. I mean, it's got to go to a different level.
Basic upkeep of the home is provided by the state, but Bridges House needs outside support to continue its role as a greeting and social space for New Hampshire.
It's a big asset to the state. I certainly think we should try to keep it and improve it. It certainly needs some help in order to perform the functions that it well can.
Security and climate control are primary concerns in keeping the house and its possessions safe and sound. Enhanced meeting and kitchen facilities are essential to allow greater use of the house for visitors and guests. Modernized access and ADA compatibility would open the house and its history to all. And finally, environmental upgrades from insulation, energy conservation measures, and other green renovations throughout the house would showcase New Hampshire's home to its many visitors.
When you're in office, you're always doing the state's business, whether it's in your home, in the residence, at the State House, and it's very important to preserve this. And I think we need to maintain its historical integrity and, you know, honor Stiles Bridges and his gift to the state, and we have it, so we should take care of it.
The Friends of the Bridges House was formed in 2005 in order to honor the generosity of the Senator and Mrs. Bridges and to realize the full potential of their magnificent gift to the state. The group has initiated a capital campaign to renovate and improve the property. Like many executive residences in other states, the Bridges House acts as an ambassador of New Hampshire for its citizens and visitors. And like many other residences, the operation of the house relies upon a combination of public and private funds. After 40 years of service to the state, Bridges House could use your help. Please help continue Bridges' gift to New Hampshire.